Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Stefanie Krievins. Stefanie is the founder and coach at Stefanie Krievins and Co. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Stefanie Krievins. Stefanie, welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me, Siddique. So
Thank
happy to
you.
be here.
Thank you so much. When I was reading your profile, I say I fix heart messes for Gen X leaders. I say I need to talk to this.
I love it. I love it.
So,
Um,
so Stephanie, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to start your own company and coaching other people to fix their heart messes?
yeah, so throughout my career, and I got that line actually from a former boss who told me, he's like, "You fix hot messes." I was like, "I do fix hot messes." Um, so throughout my career, I was kind of known as the person that came in, and when you didn't know how to get started with something, I knew how to get it started to at least get it to a point where you could take it to the consultant and they could make sense of like what in the heck was going on inside of a company in terms of marketing or technology or even just internal processes. And 7 years ago, my soul threatened to jump out of its body because I hated my job so much. And I was working at a national nonprofit, and I knew I needed help. I knew there was something wrong. I didn't know how to answer the big questions I was asking myself at the time, which was like, who do I want to be when I grow up? Who do I want to serve? What's my purpose? What's my mission? What do I want to be passionate about in the long term? And I had a neighbor who became a life coach, and I didn't know what life coaching was, but I knew I needed help. So I was like, can I pay you to life coach me? I don't even know what that means, but can I do that? And within 3 sessions, he helped me understand and be brave enough to say for myself, I never want to work for anyone ever again. I have a vision that I want to implement in this world, and I want to do it on my own or as the top up boss. I'm not a team player. Like, whatever this definition that we use in the workplace of playing politics and saying the right thing at the staff meeting, but never dealing with conflict. Like, I refuse to play that game. Like, I physically cannot play that game. And so I need to either not be on a team for a while or something. And I figured out now how to bring proper team playing behavior to organizations. And then the third thing that he helped me understand was that I was meant to be a coach. I'm the person at the staff meeting that says what everyone is thinking and no one else will say out loud. And the more I censored myself, the more frustrated I got. And so I was like, I need to move into a position where I don't have to censor myself. And as an executive and team coach, my clients love me for bringing up the tough stuff, bringing up the things that have gone unsaid and unresolved for years so that they can now move forward.
Mm. So you are meant to be coached. You figure out years later after getting frustrated at your job. So let
Yes.
me ask a little personal, semi-personal question.
Yeah.
So how would you coach your significant other? Is that a good position to be in? Because
No, sir. Yeah, never, never. So as a trained coach, I'm trained to not be attached to the outcomes and have a neutral posture with my spouse because we're both invested in the same outcomes for his life. I could never coach him. Now, sometimes I'll ask him coach-like questions, but I do so sparingly and usually with permission to make sure I don't cross any lines.
sometimes you move the line too anyway, so that's you never cross it before you.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's as a pro troublemaker, I have done that many times. You're right.
Um, yeah, thank you, thank you. Stephanie, in an organization, when you walk in, you see what are the top mistakes they have been doing so far. You can help
Mhm.
them to fix their heart messes. So, what are the top three missteps to avoid, or three mistakes the companies are doing it to not get, create a big messes for themselves from the initial.
Yeah, yeah. So, a couple of things that I run into with my clients, and most of my clients are small businesses, less than 250 employees. There's nothing small about that, more like on the privately held side. What I see them doing is overemphasizing team over results.
Mm.
And there's a lot of leaders that will overemphasize results over people. And quickly there'll become a point in the business where you cannot grow the company any longer because you have neglected the people. At the same time, there are business leaders who are too people focused, so they neglect the business results. And you see that in their revenue, in their profit and loss, in their slowness of pace. And so my recommendation is you have to balance both at the same time. People get the results, but results in the business keep the people there. So you have to find a way to balance those. Nothing's ever going to be in balance all the time, but you have to find ways to balance that at a quarterly, yearly interval. The second is especially for businesses starting out, depending on your funding stream, but overemphasizing marketing over sales. I think we're told that marketing, in the amateur way that most of us can do it for the start of their company, we're told that marketing will solve our sales woes. And I've not found an organization that can do that adequately at first without some significant experience coming onto the team. I mean, there's certainly some well-funded tech companies that figure out how marketing fuels sales, sales drives revenue. That's awesome. Most small privately held businesses, they've got to focus on sales, and instead they assume that their marketing activities will do more for sales than it actually does. And then number 3, and this has been true in my own business as well, but doing what other people are doing just because you don't know what else to do, you've got to find a way to make it your own, to fit into your brand, to fit into your values, to fit in what's important to you. If you just do what everyone else is doing, you'll look like a copycat. You won't stand out in the marketplace at all. And instead, it's fine to replicate. And in fact, I just did a podcast episode that just came out where the CEO of a company I interviewed said R&D stands for rip off and duplicate. And I'm all about borrowing creatively from other people, right? Like, learn the hard lessons that other people have learned, but you've got to make it your own. Otherwise, it's inauthentic and people won't connect with it. So if it's helpful to rip off and duplicate, do that. But most of the time, you should rip off, duplicate, and make it your own in the process.
Yeah, that's the last one is more important. Yeah, rip off, duplicate, and make your own process. So it's kind of unique to you.
Yes.
Don't just put your name on the top because people say, "Oh, I have seen it already." So then you're just wasting time. This is a great mistakes people are doing it, and that shows you are the expert. You have observed it very closely when you have been dealing with the clients. So, Stephanie, as you said, you hated your job, and I'm sure there's once you landed as a training company, as a coach. Maybe you have gone through one thing or two by the failure, not actually achieving the momentum potential for the client, and maybe even for yourself. Do you mind sharing some single most professional failure with us? And what did you learn from that, and how did you recover from it?
Yeah. Oh, man. I've made so many mistakes. I mean, how long is this show? I'm not sure we got long enough.
Just on the best one.
The best one. Gosh. I would say, for me, I had a really, really tough client that I should have fired myself from, because at the time that CEO and the CFO were not doing what they were supposed to be doing. And I put myself in a position as a coach to deliver their feedback without them reinforcing that message. And as a coach, here's the lesson I learned: as I put myself in the position of communicating their employees' feedback. So I almost was serving as a manager, not a coach. And I should have said no earlier. And instead, I reinforced their passive aggressiveness instead of providing assertive feedback. And eventually that CEO and CFO actually were asked to leave the company. And I tarnished my reputation in the process because I didn't do the right thing for the company, because I thought I could make progress. I thought that I could really help these folks, but clearly their behavior was never going to change. And so I allowed them to put me in a really difficult position and go along with it without backing out of it and doing the right thing for my own integrity's sake. Now, I learned a lot about the role of a coach during that engagement. I learned a lot about creating some neutrality and separateness in my role, and making sure that I never put myself in the position to deliver someone else's feedback. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. But I didn't honor the boundaries of my role at the time. And I learned the hard way what that did for me and for the organization because I didn't speak up soon enough.
Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing the actual experience, because we all learn from each other. That's why.
Oh, absolutely. And I share because others have shared, their mistakes with me, and I've learned from them as well. No one has it all figured out. That much I know about humanity. Nobody has it all figured out.
And we all can learn together from each other. So, Stephanie, let's switch the side. Let's get on the success side. So,
Yep.
that's probably relief. So, what are your top 3 success secret as a coach?
Yeah. So for me as a business owner and as a coach, one of my differentiators is that I push through. When things get really tough, I push through. So I was born without patience, but luckily I have crafted a ton of resilience and persistence throughout my life. And so when things get really hard, I don't stop till I have an answer. And sometimes my intuition tells me to stop, and that's when it's time to stop. But in terms of when things are hard, I don't quit when things get hard. To me, that means double down on your research, double down on your action steps, and keep pushing forward. I heard a quote early on in my business ownership that said, basically, success is usually closer than you think it is right before you quit. Like it's right on the other side of your nose, but most of us quit before we can see it because we think that all the time and money that we've sunk into this so far should be paying off already, and we just don't know that success is just right there, that very next door. How many books have you heard of that got rejected 23 times, 26 times, but 27 was the number, 32 was the number? Like, that's amazing stuff. And so for me, it's that persistence, always doing what I say I will do. So accountability is probably one of my top values in my life. I always follow through, which earns me high credibility with anyone who interacts with me. So I may not always know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out for you. Full disclosure. Again, because no one really knows what they're doing. So I would just commit to figuring it out. That's what gives me great confidence. And then the third is whenever you're starting a business, I believe strongly, don't say no to any opportunity that comes your way. Even if you think that doesn't fit into your business plan or your revenue model now, do not turn down opportunities, doors being opened, because that is feedback into your process to show you how you need to recraft what you're offering. So there's a place to say no in your career. There's a place to say no in your business. The first 2 to 4 years is not that place, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, no, that's a great wisdom. Stephanie, really appreciate it. How Growth Hacking Secrets community people who are watching this now can support you?
Oh my gosh, I would love if any of my message resonates with you, if you would listen to my podcast. It's called the Hot Mess Hotline. So it's for mid-level leaders to learn to think like CEOs. So with strategy, with focus, and with innovation. So if you're a mid-level leader thinking like, I need to know what happens in the C-suite, this podcast gives you kind of that secret insight into those conversations about what your CEO is going through, so you can better support them, so that your CEO becomes your advocate, so you can raise up in the organization. So hotmesshotline.com, I'd be honored if you would listen in.
Yeah, wonderful. So, Stephanie, is there any warning to the listener on that podcast? They need to you warn them.
Probably an explicit language warning. So if you're at work, put your headphones on, but I try to keep it real. And when there's frustration and passion coming out, sometimes it comes out in a curse word.
Okay, thank you. So I just
Yes.
want to
Thank you for opening that
door. Okay, and how people can outreach to you, Stefanie Krievins?
Yeah.
That's it. Simple. It's on your screen right now. Stefanie.
Yep.
Krievins.com. Your last name is so unique.
Yes, I married this beautiful Latvian family into this beautiful Latvian family. I now consider myself Latvian. They consider me Latvian. It's
Okay.
my maiden name's Anderson. That's an easy one, but
Wonderful. So as we are about to wrap up, Stephanie, I would like to share your experience as a guest experience on the show. Here's my question. What would you say to your best friend about growth today's guest experience on a growth hacking secret show?
Oh my gosh. So love this format. Absolutely love it. And appreciate the opportunity to be here with you. We're new LinkedIn friends, and so I'm glad to connect with you. But I would tell my friends that you need to listen into this if not that you want to shortcut success, because there are no shortcuts to success, but if you want to learn the hard lessons that other people have learned the easier way than they had to learn them, listen into this show.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your kind words. Really appreciate it. What would you say as a final word?
Yes, I wrote this down. I've seen this quote lately, and it really speaks to me because 2021 is going to be about resilience. This is the skill that is going to help us power through to the next level of evolution in our economy, in our communities, in global health. And this has stuck with me, and I think about it every day. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. When you find yourself shutting down from fear or anxiety, it's your opportunity to get curious about why that is, and dig deep into who you are as a human being, because we are made for hard things. We are made to endure. We are made to do amazing things. So don't let fear and anxiety stop you. Get to the other side of it.
Stephanie, I love it. Everything you want is on the other side of the fear.
And it's attributable to somebody else. I don't attribute it to Stefanie Krievins. I certainly borrowed that. I just forget that name for now. But it is, that one resonates with me every single day.
Understood. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.